Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Today's video is going to be questions and answers. I was going to do this live so that I could get questions streaming in, but I don't know how to put this thing together, and this is what I'm going to use for live stuff, and I got some things to do today, so forgive me. I am going to just post this as a regular video and just take the questions for now that I saw on Facebook coming in, and there are lots of groups on Facebook to join if you're interested in lucid dreaming and astral projection. Just search for them, and we're all there, and say hi if you see me. So, first question, and these are all questions that are heard a lot, so what's the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection? Well, I think that's a good thing for us to get on to some definitions. And these definitions are kind of different for everybody, which makes it a little bit hard. So everybody calls lucid dreaming the same thing. That is just being aware, becoming conscious while you're dreaming. So that's pretty straightforward. If you're conscious while you're dreaming, you can manipulate the dream in order to do whatever you want. And that's a lot of fun, as you know. And then there's astral projection. So this is where it gets tricky. In magic, I'm talking magic with a K, they use the word astral projection to describe more of a state that they put themselves in through meditation to do trance work. And a lot of Facebook people are using, and people in the dream community also use the same word, but they're describing out-of-body experiences. So I tend to use the word a lot, well, just because I was introduced to it as a lucid dreaming out-of-body experience word, but I think moving forward I'd like to use the term O.B.E for out-of-body experience a lot more when I'm describing this, just so that there isn't that confusion. Now, people that practice magic with a K, they will call the O.B.Es, the out-of-body stuff, they think that we're leaving our body and going to what they call the etheric plane. I don't know much about that because it's just not my words that I use, but you can go ahead and wiki that. Another definition that I really like is onaut. I just heard that the other day, and it just means someone that uses their dreams for like scientific purposes, and that really connected with me. So onaut, I guess we are all onauts. If you're watching this video, you probably are too. Let's see. So the difference between lucid dreaming and, well, I'm going to use the term astral projection to coincide with out-of-body experience. The difference between is that in lucid dreaming, you kind of become part of the dream and you could manipulate it, whereas in your out-of-body experiences, your soul is actually physically leaving your body behind. And I think going into different realms that are more spiritual and a lot less easy to control. Yeah, so I think that's more of a spiritual plane. And I suggest anyone who's interested in having these out-of-body experiences to first learn how to lucid dream, because it'll teach you control a lot better. So it's kind of like training ground for leaving your body. Okay, next question. This one actually comes from Michelle, who had some sleep paralysis recently, and she was wondering why is it so frightening when we experience sleep paralysis? Like, why do we experience fear during it? And I think that's a really interesting question. I actually had to really stop and think about it. And I'm sorry that you went through that. And I'm also sorry that I don't think I have the answer for you. So I don't think everybody experiences fear. It kind of depends on what your upbringing is. I can imagine that somebody, a Tibetan Buddhist, maybe if they have sleep paralysis, they're taught about it more, and they don't have certain hang-ups that we do. I mean, think about all the movies we watch and the news we hear. And I know that this has been going on for centuries, but even before then, it's like, you know, we had to defend our caves and watch out for predators. So it's pretty common that we have certain things that we're afraid of when our bodies are in sleep paralysis. It's pretty scary to just not be able to move your body. That's the number one thing. That's like death if you think about it in a way. So I think that we conjure up all these different horrible scenarios, and I think we've been doing it for centuries, especially if you have a background of, you know, Christianity or an idea of heaven and hell and demons. I think that, you know, if you find yourself paralyzed in your bedroom at night, those thoughts might come into play a little bit, your subconscious. For me personally, I've had some that weren't scary. I had one where an angel came down and, you know, talked to me, and that wasn't scary. I've also had recently, and I have a video where I talk about this, but I'm starting to see these shadow people or demons as sort of like a Carl Jung sort of way, where this is our shadow side. I'm starting to think that they're just part of ourselves that we haven't dealt with or that we don't look at, and I'm starting to learn from them. Also, I just don't have it very much anymore. I've learned to kind of increase my vibrational level and kind of get out of the room quickly and go about my own business. So try doing that. Just ignore them, these creatures that might be, you know, might be our imagination, might be our upbringing. And I don't know. I hope that helps. I know it's not the best answer, but I do what I can. Comment below if you have more questions regarding that. Let's see. What's your favorite astral projection? There's so many of them that I'm going to have to go with the one that brought me back into wanting to do this, and that was just seeing my spirit guide. So that was a couple years ago, and I was at a friend's house. It was New Year's Eve, so I stayed the night there, and I started traveling out of my body when I was asleep. And I went through his apartment building and up into the Seattle sky, and it was so beautiful. And I kind of realized that I wasn't going to stop getting out of my body because it was happening when I didn't want it to. So I said, while I was floating up in the sky, I said, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, you know, I'm going to need a guide. Do I have a spirit guide out there, something watching me? And all of a sudden the stars kind of started kind of dancing around each other and trying to form something. And I could tell it was forming, I had this feeling that it was forming something so that I could see an image. If this makes sense, it's like it already existed and was all around me. And it was forming an image just so that I could understand it. My human brain could figure it out. So it formed the image of this beautiful Asian woman, like her face, and I asked, are you my spirit guide? And she nodded. And I mean, that was all I needed, was knowing that somebody's watching me and I'm not alone in this. So I would say that's what I would say is one of my favorites, just because it really brought me back into understanding and doing something with this that will hopefully help a lot of people in the long run. Okay, here's a question that happens a lot. What is sex in the astral plane like? Well, I don't know. I haven't experienced that yet. But from what I hear, people and their astral bodies can meet up and they could have what they call sex, which seems on all accounts more like a transferring of energy than the sex that we know it as humans living in a physical world. So I hear it just feels amazing, because if any of you have had a lucid dream or had out-of-body experiences, you know that somehow like your senses are heightened and you can kind of feel everything. So from what I understand, having this astral sex or energy transference and sharing feels really, really good. If I have the opportunity to do that, I'll take it for sure. I think that would be really interesting to feel somebody else's energy and maybe connect on a level that's a lot deeper than the sex that most of us connect with now. Not to diminish, the sex that we have as humans, but gosh, I'd sure love to try some astral sex. Is this a spiritual practice? For me, it is. For a lot of people, they just, especially with lucid dreaming, they just want to have fun, and that's great. It's a lot of fun, and to take that time for yourself to have that fun, I think is really important, especially in this world. We beat each other up for like not working enough or not doing enough, and it's just take some time for yourself. Do whatever you want. But for me, I think the more I do it, the more spiritual it gets, especially once out-of-body experiences started happening. I think it'd be really hard to leave your body and be able to look down on it and not have a spiritual experience about that. It just seems, I mean, for me anyways, it's such a separation between your physical and your soul, or whatever you want to call it, that it's hard not to put a spiritual spin on that. But I think that all roads lead to Rome here, and it doesn't matter what your practice is or what you think. You know, we're all part of this big divine, and we're all in this together as energy, and we're all stardust, and yeah. So we're all figuring it out, and I guess that's my answer. You don't have to be Christian, you don't have to be Buddhist, you don't have to be, you know, anything like that. But I do think it would be hard for an atheist to stay atheist after having an experience like that. If that makes sense for that. Okay, one more question, and that is, what does Reiki have to do with lucid dreaming? Nothing. I have added Reiki to my practice because of the out-of-body experiences that I was having. I realized that if I were to get into bed and try to have an out-of-body experience, I will try to raise my vibrational level, and I could stay heightened in this vibrational level for a very long time, and sometimes I won't leave my body. Actually, most of the time I don't leave my body when I'm purposely trying to like that. And when I give up and I get out of bed, I would feel it. I would feel like there was all this stuck energy inside of me, and it wasn't a really good feeling. You know, it's like being plugged into a light socket and then just having nothing to do with all this energy. So I needed an outlet for it, and I knew about Reiki, and I had these thoughts like, you know, I want to be able to use this for healing. I could feel the energy coursing through me when I have out-of-body experiences, or when I even am just trying to. So what can I do to help people? And that's when I personally thought, oh, okay, I'm going to get into Reiki. And so far, I'm doing this distance Reiki healing, and it's actually helped some people and cured them, for now at least. I mean, we'll see. I'll give them some more Reiki energy juice if they need it, but for now they're both doing great. And it gives me that physical release, and it's pretty remarkable. So that's that. And I do want to say one more thing. I think the number one thing that I see on these Facebook message boards about astral projection and lucid dreaming, out-of-body stuff, everyone is asking, how do I do it? What am I doing wrong? How do I cleanse my pineal gland? How do I cleanse my chakras? And I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face, guys. you're perfect as you are. You do not need to clean your pineal gland. You do not need to cleanse your chakras. And that's coming from a Reiki master, okay? I love cleansing my chakras. I do it all the time. But I didn't do any of this stuff when I started having these experiences. And I think what I see in the community is that these things are a hindrance. People think, oh, I can't start doing this until I do this, until I open up my third eye. No. All you need to do is practice. It's a muscle, guys. It's like going to the gym. I promise you. Keep doing it. Keep doing your, start with lucid dreaming. So every morning or every day, throughout your day, just be mindful of your experiences and, do your little checks. Check the clock. Make sure the numbers are the same, because in a dream they change. And, just practice. Don't worry about the other stuff. Your body is fine. Your third eye is fine. I promise you. Okay? So stop worrying so much about that, guys. And if you want to, you can comment some more questions, and I would be happy to get back to them, hopefully with my live camera thing that I bought and don't know how to set up. It didn't come with instructions, but I'll figure it out. Okay, guys, thank you so much again. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that we keep doing this. Tell me what you think, and I'll try to say less ums next time. Okay, bye. Nothing but love.